And we're back for the last time.
On
So,
this.
yeah, we're technically starting a new cycle of play. Honestly, if we get halfway through a cycle, I will be perfectly fine with that. So, let's get some day shift scenes.
I mean, we gotta have Jody and the X's, right?
New
I
band
think,
name.
yeah, I think it would be helpful to have one of the doctors in that scene as well, who's like ostensibly bringing them in, supposed to be treating them or triaging them or something. Uh, Either Lon or Fran makes sense to me. Although, no, Diana plays one of the exes. So I guess it
It's
needs to be
gotta be
Lon.
Long Island because I think, yeah, Diana and I are playing both of the X's.
Excellent. So it's a full group scene to open everything up.
The rare three connection one main MC scene.
It's more likely than you think in deep cuts. Um, I think we definitely need a Fran and Lon as well while we're getting Lon scenes. Um,
Do you think we'll get to a? We probably won't get to a second day shift, right?
I don't think we will get to a second day shift.
Then we need the Echo scene too. But that could be
Yeah,
at the
we
very
need
end of the day shift.
Aiko. All right.
Are we injuring Aiden and having Fran cure
I
him?
think we are. I think we should injure Aiden. Um,
Cool.
I feel like this will
I
be
have.
like our night shift is more like the prequel epilogue. Like all
Yeah,
the things happen and then finally a breath of fresh air kind of thing.
yeah. You get those in like season finales to ER a whole lot. Like people go out into the ambulance bay and just like put their head between their legs. Oh my god. Something like that. What about Phyllis and Dylan? What do we want from them during this phase?
I mean, I imagine she's going to be part of the Aiden scene,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like maybe
Dylan too,
she's
probably.
yeah, maybe we'll see her not able to handle things for once.
Mm. All right. Well, I have on the list so far Jody and the X's with Lon Guyland, Fran and Lon, question mark. Maybe that could be with Bernice or somebody. Uh, Aiko and Aiden suffers. uh, I have some ideas for how he's going to get hurt, but I don't want to tack it down yet. We'll talk about it when we frame the scene. Uh, is that enough for now? Is there anything else we want?
I'm good.
Okay. In that case, I think we should start with the Jody scene because that's a good thing that can plant seeds for future scenes, has some elements of comic relief, so it's kind of like the slightly silly cold open. So, what has what has happened to cause the two of them to come in during the same time? Is it just coincidence? Because like Calvin,
think
it says in
so.
the description, is being treated for malignant necrosis, but what's the story with Trojan?
Well, what I wrote in Trojan's thing is that he got injured. I didn't specify the injury, so Chris can come up with that. Uh, it had happened nearby, and he was unable to convince the ambulance driver to drive him to another hospital so he wouldn't have to deal with his ex-wife.
Okay, that works. Um, how's this for a scene framing? I think Lon is doing a paramedic ride along. This is something that ER docs have to do from time to time. Surgeons who cover the ER occasionally do them as part of their certification. So I think Lon is on the ambulance that's bringing Trojan in. And Kelvin arrives at the same time as the ambulance. What is causing Jody to be in the ER rather than upstairs in administration or whatever?
Yelling at one of the nurses, you know.
Or flirting with someone else.
It's
We've
really
already-
those two things.
She could be yell flirting. Like, your time card is a mess. What are you going to do about it?
Horrible. Horrible.
But correct.
I have a disturbingly accurate read on this woman. I'm not sure what to do.
No,
with
it's
this
it's very
information.
easy. Every scene, you just need to you just need to add one more workplace violation.
Yeah. Okay. So. All right. So Jody is flirt shouting at one of the nurses. It can be like a faceless mook. And Kelvin and Trojan and Lon come in all at the same time. How do you think Jody receives this?
Oh, look what the cat dragged in. 2 pieces of garbage.
Lon kind of doesn't register because he's rushing Trojan in with the other paramedics. What is Trojan's complaint?
I think he fell off a ladder and broke his ankle. Something simple,
Okay.
but not easy.
I was so hoping for laceration to the left kidney. I'm going to save that for Aiden.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Anyway. For context, anyone who watches this later, Chris found a handy medical diagnosis generator. So
Toxic effective venom of Black Widow spider. Just randomly
also-
generated that. That's what it is now.
that's what's happening to Trojan.
Trojan is
Yeah.
an exotic pets guy.
Okay. So Lon is just shouting, we need anti-venom.
I'm
How is
telling
Trojan
you, I'm
taking it?
fine. It'll wear off in 45 minutes.
Sir, respectfully, that's 45 minutes I'd rather not risk.
I am
Okay.
told necrosis is a bad thing. It won't look good on clothes. I need some help here. You know, help that my ex over there never liked to give.
Sir, your nose is falling off.
Who
We
would want
know.
to help you?
All right,
Also,
Lon.
that's not my job.
Your job is to help, and you didn't do it. You don't do it at work, and you didn't do it at home.
So is Kelvin? Did Kelvin just walk in with this?
Yes,
Okay.
because he's like, I have an ex who works here. I can just bypass everything.
Like, also, his nose
All right,
is falling
I
off.
think Lon, without looking, just starts to say, "Sir, please go sit in chairs so the nurse can triage you," and then turns around and sees your fucked up face. Like, oh, wow.
This is not cosplay.
Just turns to the nurse that was being flirt harassed. And says, "Can you call for a plastics consult immediately, please?" So, now Lon is kind of accidentally in charge of both of these cases, which he thinks he's going to do great at.
Really, what's the difference between this
What's
and
open up?
Ghost?
Sir, can you just go sit in curtain 3? I'll be with you as soon as I can. I just need to.
He won't do it. He never
Are
does
you
what
sure
he's
I
told.
can't get further away?
Pardon?
Did one of your little pets bite you? Oh, that's so sad.
Trojan will just turn to look at the whoever's wheeling his dolly and be like, "Go faster now! I need to get out of here."
Yeah.
Wait,
Let's
this is
get
how
you
you
into-
act with me before. Is this one of your lovers? Noticing the pattern of behavior.
Right now, buddy, I will give you $200.
I'm assuming that Jody and Calvin are like blocking the hallway that I need to take
Yes.
Trojan down. Lon musters up some strength because he doesn't like talking to Jody either after what happened. Says, Miss Summers, I'm going to have to ask you to vacate the hallway so that we can get through. Please, I'm on a bit of a time clock with this patient.
She just does the most.
Miss Summers, huh? So the next guy wasn't forever either.
He probably
just
didn't
does
fill his forms properly, and
Lon just kind of places a hand on Trojan's shoulder to indicate shut up, but says nothing.
Jody just does like the most expressive eye roll, and just like, I don't want to be around them anyway. Just like flounces off a little bit.
The more things change.
Yeah, well, try working with her. So Lon gets Trojan into a room where presumably the antivenom is waiting. I'm going to rely on knowledge from other people. Venom from a Black Widow is like not a terribly complicated thing, right? Like they have.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
Yeah.
Gun to my
Okay,
head.
I'm gonna do it to stay. I was thinking of it too. I think as you're wheeling him off, you hear from Jody, and see if you can do something about his erectile dysfunction while you're at it. His name's super deceptive.
wow, I love it. Neko, you're so mean.
Always.
The best thing in this game has been seeing Neko play a total bitch. It's so off-brand. It's so good.
The sheer contrast between Jody and her game in the character in the Cena game we're both in.
I like to think I have range.
And you do. You're right.
You do have range. You just
it's
also have a very
extremely
well-known
funny.
brand.
If we need Trojan to stick around, he can have been bit by multiple poisonous animals. Venomous, whatever.
Well, the reason I asked about whether this is complicated because I'm trying to decide whether or not it should be a challenge. Right? Is it simple enough, given the antivenom, he'll be fine, so we could just move on to whatever the fuck is going on with Kelvin's face? Because that's definitely
probably
a challenge. Okay. So
I think typically if you know, I don't know if it's the same with snakes as it is with spiders, but if you know what bit you, you're generally fine.
Even then, Black Widow bites, like they aren't generally lethal. They just hurt a lot for about an hour.
mhm.
Yeah, but I think the main challenge with anything that's venomous tends to be like knowing what bit you, because you have to use different antivenom for different things.
Mhm.
But if it's an exotic pet, then you probably know what did it. So
Okay. So Lon heads to the curtain where Calvin is waiting. And as long as Jody and Trojan have exited the scene, if Dylan or Phyllis wants to be in on this, I think that would be fine. But Lon shows up at the curtain. All right. Mr. Klein, is it?
Sorry, 1 second. This spaghetti is very spicy for me. Yes, it's Klein. Are you just gonna stand there?
No, I'm just taking a closer look. Out of character, I'm also eating. So sorry
No
about
worries.
that. How exactly did this happen, sir?
How does necrosis happen?
I mean, it probably is a result of an infection.
Yeah.
So you probably just got a really sketchy
Yeah.
nose job.
Yeah, it's an infection that is real serious, basically.
Yeah. I got into a couple of months ago, I got into this brawl, you know. They said that they made better garments than I did, and no one makes the best garments than Calvin Klein. Of course, it's a brand name everybody knows of. And well, I just, smacked it a little bit into place and didn't think I needed to go to a doctor, I mean, it's supposed to make me look distinguished.
Sir, did you consult with a plastic surgeon at any point?
Well, through video phone, yeah.
I beg pardon. You received instructions to perform rhinoplasty on yourself via video phone.
Yeah. I mean, I'm an independent contractor, so I don't got, the proper insurance and stuff, and I just didn't want to file it. And I found this reliable through the Google.
Sorry, I just need a moment to absorb your use of the term independent contractor there.
Also, the Googles.
Yeah. Anyway. At this point, Lon peeks out of the curtain area at whatever nurse is nearby. Maybe it's Phyllis. I don't know. She says, "Can you get me an answer on that plastics consult now?" Well,
is everything supposed to smell
you're gonna
burning?
need
Is something on fire?
No, sir. You just need immediate surgery to repair the damage you did to your face.
Should I sue the other guy?
I cannot advise you on that. I'm sorry. So mechanically, there are a few ways we could do this. We could just launch into a club's challenge right now. See if I can fix your nose.
Yeah.
Or we could use this as a venue for Diana to work with Lon because we also have to fight the infection, and Fran is an internist. She would have an interest in this. So
Yeah.
we would need someone to. We would either kind of put Kelvin on the shelf, like, oh, he's under general anesthesia, whatever, or we need someone to play Kelvin.
I, of course, volunteer Chris.
Fine, I'll be another guy.
He is our designated weird guy machine.
Chris, always designated to play a guy.
I promise if I had made an X, it would have been a weird girl just for you, Chris.
Jody just strikes me as a terrible straight
I-
person, though.
Yeah.
Y'all,
Yeah, no, this would have been a terrible girl X, specifically from Jody's experimental phase. She swiped right on this woman by accident and decided to try out being bisexual.
Oh God, that hurts. Also, oh, there you go. You're frozen for a bit, Chris. I think you're back.
yes, I
Still
was. I
frozen.
missed
There we go.
most of the last 45 seconds.
It's
We're just
fine.
talking about a fictional ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. Anyway,
So yeah, I think maybe like Fran overheard you like talking about like, you know, looking for the plastics guy to come in, and she's like, that's not really ER specific. Like, huh. And she's riding a bit of a high from, you know, having the relationship with Aiko gone to the next level, small steps, you know. And so she's willing to butt her head in again. And she kind of just like clears her throat and goes, Dr. Galan?
yes. Do you know where plastics is?
They're having a bit of a situation. Apparently there was a golf cart incident with some highly rich people and smashed noses and pierced breasts or some sorts of issues going on.
Okay.
But
Looks like I'm gonna have to fix this guy up myself.
what's the issue? It doesn't seem to be. And then I think she like kind of glances. Oh, like just like can't not have a straight face.
Mr. Klein attempted to rhinoplast himself, getting instructions over Zoom.
That's a new one. At least it wasn't through Instagram Live.
Lon just kind of stares blankly at Fran. Partially because he doesn't find that funny, but also because this man has never touched Instagram.
And she's just having flashbacks of people trying to do like little like I'll just sew myself for clout, you know, like on TikToks and Instagram. Well, yeah. The
Not
version-
TikTok yet.
Not TikTok.
Doing
yet,
stuff
that's
for
correct.
doing stuff for clout seems to be a huge theme of this game.
Exactly.
It's the funniest reason to do anything.
Yeah,
It is.
it's true. We are a medical comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all necrotized, and I need to get him into an OR immediately.
There might be something we can do, especially if the ORs are currently busy. And I think she was walking around with her cart, so that's why she was in this area. So she like goes, and of course, like, you know, at first it seems like, oh God, she's gonna, you know, crystal him or something, because she moves her crystals and like, you know, like aromatherapy stuff out of the way. And I think she kind of similar to the whole practice, because this is what I learned when I had to take care of my grandmother with open wounds. You can use like a bee honey gel to help
Mhm.
with like cleaning and sealing the infection when you can't use other types of things. It's like a topical thing on top of course other medicines and such. Um so I think she would like bring that out and be like, let's try this to see like if we can slow down the necrosis and everything and see if we can reverse without
I think Lon is going to stop you before you can do this. Like, he sees you coming with your cart of candles and woo and witchcraft, and just like, yo, hey, respectfully, Dr. Santos, what are you doing?
giving you a suggestion to use for the interim because necrosis can go very quickly, obviously, and if we don't have an OR room available and neither of us are qualified for anything to do with repairing a nose to something of a livable state.
I appreciate your interest, but please consult with me before just going in and treating my patient.
I wasn't going to. I was just showing to both to you and the patient.
Very well.
I could also bring up the studies where this has been tested. It's obviously, studies take years.
I suppose it can't hurt. Go ahead. So I think this is going to be a club's challenge for Fran, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's get the card draws together. All right. Difficulty for this, I think, is going to be set at 3 because the level of risk by itself is not ordinarily terribly high, but this tissue is really in very, very bad shape. And the dramatic stakes are a little bit higher because you're kind of trying to prove something to Dr. Galland.
Yeah, so I will use my last resolve token to make that a 2.
All right.
Because yes, I am trying to prove to somebody that this works. All right. A diamond.
Hmm.
Yeah. Another diamond.
Oh.
Shit. 6, 7, 8. What? That
It's a
You're
shame.
using the same command again, so it's re-randomizing every time, and it doesn't look like it's very good at it.
Yeah.
Draw
So
shuffled
after
versus shuffle and draw, it means you're not using the same deck.
Yeah,
But that
you're
seems so
reshuffling every
weird.
time you draw. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And usually,
go ahead and start
usually
over.
randomizers are based on the system clock, so sometimes stuff
Yeah.
like this can happen.
All right. So I'll just use regular draw.
I'm reshuffling the deck. Go ahead and just use the draw command.
Yeah. Well, there's a first club.
Oh, a club. Nice.
Heart. Damn. So that was 4 draws, right? Only 1 club.
You fail when you draw 4 cards outside the suit. So you have
Okay,
you
1 more.
still keep drawing, but if the next one's not a club, you're done.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey!
big fuck.
That was interesting. So I think the way this plays out, if it's all right with you, Diana, is that the results at first are not great. this is quite painful for Kelvin.
Yeah.
And so, on initial impression, Lon really just kind of thinks you're smearing a bunch of stuff and making the pain worse, but stops himself from intervening just because, like, I can be fair. I'll give it a little while. We'll see if we get in an OR. But it does seem to work. The infection has not gotten any worse by the time Kelvin has an OR open for him. Do we want Kelvin's surgery to be on screen, or do we want that to just be like our involvement's done, like Plastics hasn't now?
I'm fine with it. Like Plastics has it now.
Yeah.
I think Fran would just like want to know the results afterwards and such.
Okay, so I think to wrap it up, Lon finds Fran somewhere like maybe the lounge.
Mm-hmm.
And Lon's just there to refill his coffee, but kind of sees you on the couch or something, maybe doing some charts. And he turns as he pours his coffee, says, "That honey gel thing worked surprisingly well."
Yes, I'm glad it did what I was hoping to do and get him to surgery and not have to cut the whole thing off, I guess.
Plastics just took him up. We'll see what happens.
Thank you for trusting in me, doctor. I know that's very hard.
He just takes a poignant sip as he heads out, says nothing.
Immediately she texts Aiko and says, I got praise.
All right. Other scenes. Aiko and Aiden suffers. Both people expressed we wanted to go toward the end. However, we just did the other two. Because we did Fran and Lon, and we did Jody and the X's. So the other two on our list are Aiko and Aiden. Which do we want to do first?
Well, why is Aiko coming into the hospital? Who is he bounty hunting?
It's a good question.
One of the exes. Or Jody. Maybe Jody's been doing too much flirty fraud. I don't know.
It could be dramatic. If Aiko shows up, because he's heard a bunch of reports of this doctor at this hospital kind of using weird treatments and stuff, and like, is this medicine? But he didn't get a name. And so like the reveal is Aiko's here for you.
Or it initially appears that way and then it turns out to be someone else.
It turns out Plastics. Turns out the Plastics guy was the guy doing the illegal video consult.
I like that a lot.
And he's now
actually.
hiding it by fixing finally. Yeah, everybody asks like Aiko asks so who's the weirdo? And they point to Fran.
Okay. So let's play this scene out. How Chris, why don't you frame this for us? Like, describe what we see as Aiko's coming in.
All right, Aiko is full on mid 2000s like Vampire Diaries bad boy.
Black leather jacket, eye patch,
black jeans, a biker bandana. Why not? He did obviously come here by motorcycle.
As we all know, it is the most dangerous vehicle.
That's because I like to live dangerously. Anyway, yeah, he just kind of saunters into the ER and starts asking the nurses a couple questions about, hey, is there anyone? I received a tip from a couple of the paramedics that someone in this ER is practicing less than legitimate medicine in this hospital. Know who that might be?
And I think they're all obviously fawning over it. Like, oh, like, what if we say it was me? You know?
It would be interesting if Phyllis is one of the
I was about
nurses
to
that he's
say.
asking. And Phyllis is entirely unimpressed by him.
Mm-hmm.
So how does Phyllis respond?
Well, I would think that if you're going to come to a hospital, you would have more than a tip. Perhaps you have done some research.
Of course. But I always like to make sure that the other staff know why I'm here and what sort of business I need to take care of.
Uh-huh.
The person I'm tracking goes by a few names. I have one of them, but it's not a legal name. I've done as much research as I can. I've been on their trail for weeks. And I'm 80% sure that they're here.
Well, do you know what type of medicine they were practicing? You could give me that name, anything that might help narrow this down. There are a lot of staff in this hospital. I'm sure you're aware.
Always. Okay. The tip I'm following says that they are practicing unsanctioned telehealth, possibly of a less than less than savory plastic surgery, but they're not wealthy enough to have their own practice and make it all look pretty.
Yes, I did hear some yelling about that earlier. I believe that Dr. Santos was one of the people who took care of that case. So perhaps her patient, once they are out of surgery, would be able to help you with a description or...
That would be very helpful. Can I speak to her now? Is she available?
And she's gonna have she's going to have the staff at the reception page Dr. Santos.
I'm going to offer a facilitator token to Diana, because I know you love tokens and you don't have any more. I think it would be interesting if Fran doesn't answer their page immediately because they're busy with something else. They just don't notice it. And so Aiko has to go looking for them.
Okay, yeah.
And I think he runs into Lon. And Lon is going to, there's going to be like a misunderstanding. Lon is like, oh yeah, I helped her with it. That sort of thing. And like, really, I want to add to the pile of Aiko thinking it's you a little bit more.
Oh, I see. With what we've established, I think the surgeon consulting on a botched rhinoplasty is Aiko's first suspect.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want to both add to the pile of like making it look shadier, but also kind of make it ambiguous. Is it Lon or is it Fran?
Okay.
I will accept that token.
All right, fantastic.
So I've added it to my
So
tiny pile of one.
So after Fran doesn't answer their page for whatever reason, Diana can come up with something at a later date. You run into Dr. Galland, who is on his way up to his office to get back on that research study. Lon kind of stops short at this Matrix ass motherfucker wandering the halls. Can I help you, sir?
Maybe. Can you point me in the direction of Dr. Santos?
I think she might be out for
Or-
lunch. I'm not sure. I haven't seen her in. I haven't seen her for a few hours since she consulted on a case of mine.
Oh, was this the rhinoplasty case?
Lon's face kind of clouds. Says, "Do you mind telling me more about why you're here? Why you know about this?"
I'm pursuing a contract to do with prolonged medical malpractice coming out of this hospital.
I
Received a
see.
trusted tip that one of the doctors involved with treating one of the patients admitted tonight had contact with my current bounty.
Well, Dr. Santos and I helped him out. Honestly, the initial idea was hers.
So you're in it together.
Well, it's a difficult case. You need more than one set of hands for this sort of thing. And plastics was taking forever to take the guy, so we did what we could
So
for
you're
him.
not a plastic surgeon yourself.
I'm a trauma surgeon.
Do you know anyone in plastics?
I did a rotation there for a little bit, but I'm not super connected to them. That's kind of a hyper competitive dude scene. It's not really for me.
Okay. Do you know anyone who could get me into their offices?
They're really backed up with some kind of golf cart accident. I've been paging them all day and have just been getting delays and delays and delays.
Thank you for your time. And Aiko will just walk off.
Do you mind, sir? And I assume Aiko just keeps ignoring
Oh,
me.
no. Wasting valuable time.
All right. My suggestion is that we pivot now to Aiden and resolve this after
Hmm.
we're finished with Aiden. Does that sound good to everyone, or do we want to
Yeah, that
see
sounds
this
good.
through?
Can we take 5?
I think taking 5 is also a very good idea. So we will reconvene in 5 to 10 minutes. So
Okay.
see you in a bit.
Diana, do you see how he's kicking my arm away?
Yeah. Silly cat.
All right. I'm back, but I'm
Welcome
eating.
back.
Look, do you
Oh.
want pets or not?
The eternal struggle.
All right, I think he's done with the fiction for now. Hoopy always looks so grumpy.
There was exactly one frame, like immediately before the screen cap took, where he didn't. That's what I was trying to capture.
Nah, he just always he has like a resting grumpy face.
It's the eyes. They look angry.
Okay. Sorry I'm late. Is everyone here?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep, yep.
Okay. In that case.
I think we are all back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, and welcome back, Rupee.
We're all back.
Even the kitty.
Yep. He's rubbing up against my laptop screen.
All right, before we get into it, does this sound better? I've just pushed a button on my microphone.
No, you don't sound louder.
Not louder, just I don't know what this button does.
It doesn't sound worse.
Yeah.
Cool. It is labeled air, and I can't find the manual to actually look up what it's supposed to do.
Okay. Excellent. If we have everyone, let's resume. So, Neko, are you with us?
Yep.
Oh, I forgot to put my headphones back on. I apologize. Yeah. Oh,
That would explain why you
I
didn't think
really-
everyone was back.
I'm really tired. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. Wrapping this up fairly quickly is going to be good for me, I think. I got a text during the break about a group project that someone is suggesting we make some changes before we submit, and it's due by midnight. So it's like,
Oh, jeez.
okay,
Oh.
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, we don't have a ton left to do.
yeah, we don't. It'll be fine. I have time. I can do it. It's just frustrating.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Neko, you don't want Aiden to die. Do you have limits for how badly he can be hurt, or what kinds of suffering you want to avoid?
Nothing that's gonna be like permanent, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, if he gets a scar or something, that's fine. But I don't want
Understood.
him to like be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life or something. You know.
He could have other contact with Crocodile.
We're in Philadelphia. Where did he find a crocodile?
They have zoos.
Did he just like fall over the
I
railing?
think other contact means he was not bit,
Yeah,
which is
wild.
there's something to that.
Yeah.
He was not bit, but he was swallowed.
He could also
Your
have
son got eaten by a sewer croc. Sorry.
He could also have malignant neoplasm of anterior wall of bladder.
That sounds
don't know what
painful.
that means, but
That sounds really bad.
I think that might be a kidney stone.
Diffuse cystic mastopathy of unspecified breast.
this generator is not helping me understand anything.
Oh no, this is it's terrible, but in a way that I find deeply compelling.
Oh, here's one if we wanted to make it really dramatic but have the problem be really tiny. Unspecified fracture of fourth metacarpal bone, left hand.
I mean, yeah, that can mess you up if you're not like insurgered correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds
Um,
like his hand got slammed in a car door, which I've had happen a few times as a
Oh
child.
my god. Oh no.
Yeah,
I
no,
just got.
it'll mess you up.
I just got one that is hilarious, but I can't do to Aiden because Aiden's 14.
Is it hepatitis
We could have a
C?
patient. No, we could have a patient in this game with scrotal transposition.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
My brother, this is a story I've always been told. In late middle school, early high school, had to have that happen. Had that happen because of baseball and such. My mom had to be in the room because at the time the doctors weren't allowed to do anything without parental, and dad was at work. So it is something a 14-year-old can have
I mean,
because of a sports injury. I think it was football. It wasn't. Yeah, I think it was football that happened.
That sounds
that
horrible.
seems more likely.
Yeah. Um.
Because if I'm remembering my Latin, that means that one of them's just somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a congenital thing, apparently.
Huh.
Yeah. Anyway. I like this one I generated earlier, this laceration of the kidney. I'm curious what Aiden would be doing to cause that to happen.
Tipped over a vending machine.
Maybe he was saving his YouTube friend from a bad stunt.
Okay.
What was it? Jake Masters? Was that his name?
Yep.
Yeah,
Jake Masters.
I never learned his name.
He doesn't have a name, he has a handle.
Yeah, no, he's in my brain as shitty teen with Sonic the Hedgehog voice, and that's it.
Yeah, I forgot you did the Sonic voice for that motherfucker.
How could you possibly? Come on.
It's okay.
All right.
So he was trying to stop Jake from doing something stupid, and something bad ended up happening to him. I think Jake climbed up on top of the posts at the football field, and Aiden climbed up to try and get him to come down and fell and landed on something that lacerated his kidney.
Oh, honey, no, you call the firefighters.
Or you just shake really hard. He had it coming. Goalposts are not generally very stable.
Does this sound like a good thing to happen to get him in peril?
Yeah, that sounds fine to me.
Yeah, let's do our ER style child peril episode.
For once, it's not Jake who's injured.
Yeah.
No, but Jake.
All right.
We couldn't not have Jake be involved. Apparently.
Yeah. We have this dramatic shot of Aiden being pulled in on a gurney by the paramedics, like dramatic drum hit as the doors are slammed open. Dylan, Phyllis, how do you respond?
Dylan will look at Phyllis.
So do I? Can you slam ER doors open?
Yes.
No? I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, definitely. You can't slam them closed, but you can definitely slam them open.
Yeah.
Okay. So is Jake bringing him in? What's happening?
I think Jake is with the paramedics that are bringing him in.
All right. Yeah.
So how did the two of you respond seeing this? When you realize, oh God, it's Aiden.
I think that Phyllis is going to go over and barely stop herself from like grabbing Jake by the arm, and then she says, "What happened?" in kind of like a "what did you do to my baby boy" type tone. Like, this kid is going to be very scared of her, I think.
I was climbing the goalpost at the football field, and Aiden was trying to get me to come down, and then I kind of fell on him.
Yeah, and I think she's just gonna like turn away from you and like try and see if there's any of the paramedics who are like not super busy saving her son's, like actively saving her son's life, that she can like talk to, like get his condition, what is happening. And I think someone who knows her well will be able to tell that she's freaking out.
Yeah, but you're not freaking out in a come comfort me kind of way. So I think Dylan is very like he's in the room, obviously concerned, but also definitely giving you space to like handle this shit.
Yeah, but I do think the paramedics are probably going to be like, "Ma'am, we understand it's your son, but you need to let us work." And I think she's probably going to be, you know, like brushed off and outside the loop.
Here's a fun monologue token. You would think I would throw it to Phyllis to hear what her thoughts are, but no, I want to throw it to Dylan to see what his thoughts are. If you want to take it, of course, Chris.
Let me think.
Because you finally bonded with the boy.
I mean, does it make me a bad person that the thing I'm thinking most right now is that it doesn't feel like I have any part in this? Like I want to be here, but it's just this is between her and Aiden. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I should be doing research. I think that's it. I think that's all we get. He does not leave after this monologue.
Also, if you're talking, guys, you're still muted.
I was not talking. I had muted because I am putting in in-text citations that I forgot to put in while listening to the scene. It was a very compelling monologue. Thank you, Chris. So yeah, this sounds like a good case for Fran to end up having. And then possibly shoot a surgical consult to Lon. Does that sound good to everyone?
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, this actually is trauma surgery. We did it.
Yeah, we actually got some trauma surgery in our ER game.
Right at the end.
All right, what do we got? Dr. Santos?
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize I was talking to my boyfriend because he came back in. What's going on?
This seems like it would be a compelling case for Fran to pick up and then shoot a surgical consult to Dr. Galland. Does
Okay.
that work for you?
Yeah, I like that. That she's just like floating about, you know. It's like, oh well, shit, you know. I think, despite the fact that like, yeah, Dr. Galan gave her like, you know, like a thumbs up before, I think she'll do like through the like pager system because that's what everybody used back then, to get him to immediately come to like to the patient,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of be like, okay,
What do you
let's get
have for me, Doctor?
it. It's Phyllis's kid. He's been hurt, and I think you would probably be the best to take care of and what it, you know, insert medicalese here.
Yeah.
I think Phyllis
So,
she stops herself. Dr. Jones would best trust you with her boy.
well, let's take a look. We're going to do a one difficulty clubs challenge because, like, the techniques used to determine whether there's internal bleeding would be really standard for Dr. Galland. He's done it a million times. So yeah. So let's shuffle. It's a diamond. It's a heart. Another heart. Man, am I really going to fuck up on a level 1 while Aiden's on the table? Yeah, I am. Cool.
Oh,
Awesome. So Galland takes a look and just kind of turns. She says, "This isn't a surgical candidate. Why did you page me?"
ooh. I'm pretty sure it is I'm pretty sure he needs surgery. That there's just too much going on here concerning the fall he had.
All right. Well, you take a look then. show me that he's surgical.
So would it also be clubs, or would it be?
Yeah, it would still be clubs, I think. Oh, actually, let's make this spades because we're arguing over diagnosis.
Okay.
So yeah. Same difficulty though.
A 1.
So, yeah. All right.
Hearts. Hearts are pretty common.
Diamonds too.
There
Yeah,
we go.
Yay,
Spade.
there we go.
I don't know that I entirely trust how good this bot is.
Yeah, I think in future iterations, if I'm playing online, I'm gonna just have a physical deck of cards that I dole out on screen.
Yeah.
Because this one seems to be leading us astray.
But we did it.
Yeah.
And I think like her tone as she like successfully is just very like, you've been through a lot this week. And I think by this point everybody's heard about Jodie's exes. Like you know, and so she's just like, she takes a deep breath and then like gets into like, you know, like proper doctor mode, and it shows you like pressing very gently, of course, on the poor boy. Like here and here.
Lon just kind of nods. Somber says, "My mistake. Let's get him up."
And I think since Fran knows she has no place in the surgical, really, like, once a diagnosis and everything, is she'll, like, go to you, Phyllis,
Uh-huh.
and be like, he's going to be fine.
Can you tell me what's happening? The paramedics were too busy to.
She nods and does a very, like, straight up doctor to doctor explanation.
I don't understand why you didn't just call the fire department.
Well, boys like to show off. That would be the sensible thing, and I don't think teenage boys are very sensible, right?
I just thought I.
He was trying to help his friend not be the stupid one. It sounds like. That's a step, right?
Yeah.
But he's come.
Uh,
He's been taken to the right place. And she tries to offer you a hug, but without, forcing you into a hug.
Yeah, and she'll take the hug though. I don't think she's going to be like super responsive, but she'll let you hug her. I think she's just a bit overwhelmed and
Yeah.
very, very
Okay.
worried.
At this point, the gurney
Probably
carrying
having flashbacks to her husband's death
Oh,
right now.
Yeah.
At this point, the gurney carrying Aiden up to the OR passes the two of you. I'm giving my monologue token to Phyllis. What's going through your mind as you watch your son pass you and be taken up to surgery?
Yeah, I think what happens in the show is that we get a flashback where like the image of Aiden fades away and it is replaced by a similar image of her husband, because I think her husband died from job-related injuries as a firefighter. So like probably she went through like a similar thing and like it was not pretty, and she's just like thinking about that, and then like we get that image changes to like her and Aiden at the funeral, and like the coffin going into the crematorium as they watch and just like then we switch back to Phyllis's face, and like she's closed her eyes and has her hands folded in prayer, and it's just like, I think that's kind of like the vignette of the monologue for TV that we get.
All right, excellent. I think this is a good moment for the camera to pivot back to resolving the stuff with Aiko. And then we can get a resolution to this at the very end. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It feels like what would happen in
I
A thing
dead
or
ass
two.
forgot about Aiko.
You forget about people's names. You forget about people you play.
Yeah, I wonder why. Anyway.
Do we first like see Jake before we switch to Aiko? Do we first like see Jake sitting in a like a chair in the waiting room with like his best oh shit look on his face?
Yeah, oh no, definitely, for sure.
Is he coming up with one of the classic YouTube apology videos script in his head?
I don't think
Or is he
so.
genuine? No, he's
I
being
think
genuine.
Deep down, Jake is a good kid.
Nice. This is his turnover moment.
Now
That just means
he's
his apology video would.
Well, now that someone else is hurt, he's finally scared straight.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, I think after like, it's been a really busy day, like even for Fran. And I think she's like turning the corner to like head to like, okay, I'm gonna go to the lounge and sit down for a few minutes, and maybe literally just bumps into Aiko.
Fran.
And she looks up and Aiko, what are you okay? Like immediately, like, are you hurt? And she starts like grabbing your arms, like feeling for her cuts
No,
or something.
I'm here on business. Do you
Biz?
know you saw a patient earlier today with probably a really fucked up nose?
Oh, it was. And she takes a step back, like rubbing her own nose, like I couldn't even imagine. Yes, it was. It was pretty bad. But remember when I texted you earlier today? That was why I got complimented on. I figured out a solution, alternative medicine to help them, until we had time, until there was an OR ready.
You should really be clearing that kind of stuff with your administrator if you don't want me coming after you next time.
She blinks. I'm sorry?
That's not the hospital doesn't have insurance to cover that kind of stuff. They will fire you for that.
Well, that's why I'm here though, is to research in the ER and do, I mean, the doctor that was overseeing him, Dr. Lon, okayed it.
That's good for your liability, but
Has someone been
look,
complaining about me?
I'm not here for you, I don't think.
She like takes a step back.
But did that guy with the nose give you any details about the doctor who messed him up in the first place?
And she's going to be a little difficult. She's going to ask the equivalent, I guess, like, where's your warrant?
Fran, come on. I can get it for you if you want. I'll like start pulling out his phone, but
Yeah. And she just sighs and like, well, he did a teleconference with some plastiosurgeon he found online. So the Googles was his exact wording.
never gets easier. And no physical description, no name, no nothing.
Well, and I think she thinks back and
Feel free to make one up, yeah.
yeah, I think maybe like gave a cup like since I also played the
Dr.
patient.
Jeremy Googles in the plastics department.
Jeremy. So I think she explains a little bit of the like a little bit of their physical description, and kind of reminds me of Dr. Jeremy who worked on him today. Huh. And she shakes her head like probably just a coincidence.
Has Dr. Jeremy left yet?
No, we have. I love that the patient will never show up, but we had a golf cart incident. It was a pileup. Can you believe that could happen? He's been very busy.
Can you get me into his office?
It depends.
And here is the warrant. The bounty, as it were.
And will you be providing dinner tonight?
Please do do not flirt with me while I'm working.
She narrows her eyes, like, and kind of does like a flouncing turn and everything, like takes it. And you think she's like just leaving you. And then, like, after a couple of steps, like, are you coming?
Of course.
And yeah, I think Fran does know how to break into the office.
I mean, break in is a strong word. I can't imagine he's left his door locked. And if he has, well, non-destructive entry is part of the job.
But Fran, from her previous past, does know a little bit about lockpicking. And it's, it's a hospital door. It's an office door.
Yeah, you just grab it.
Just-
It takes
yeah.
seconds.
Exactly.
If this guy was this easy to find, I'm willing to bet he's enough of an idiot to leave evidence in his filing cabinet.
Oh, I'm sure. Though if he is doing this sort of thing, we'll have to get him off the surgeries he's currently on.
You might want to spread this around the nurses. Although, not yet. Wait until we actually find something. Would this be a test?
I think it could be, depending on your approach and what specifically you're trying to do.
Also, good rules question. Can connections do tests?
And also, can tests be non-medicine?
Tests definitely can be non-medicine. It's designed to be that way. The really interesting question is, can connections do challenges? I am inclined to say yes, because they still have resolve tokens to spend.
Yeah.
They just don't have any of the special doodads from a specialty or a reputation condition that a main character would get. So I'm going to rule that yes, they can. Just temper your expectations.
Yeah.
Actually, didn't Fran have a successful spades challenge?
Yes, I did.
So
I was
can
thinking
you
this
use your
might be
move?
a diamond challenge, though, but yeah.
Good. I think because our randomizer
I think this
loves diamonds.
I think this definitely would be a diamonds challenge, yes.
Okay.
All right, let's go for it.
Eiko will spend both of his resolve tokens.
All right. With the resolve token spent, I'm going to say the difficulty is still 3. Like, it was 5 before, and you lowered it to 3.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because you're trying to get this in a pretty under the table sort of way. Hey, first diamond. Spade. Heart. Club. That's a spade. That is unfortunate. Dang. I think the way this failure is going to play out, I haven't made a connection for him or anything. I think Dr. Jeremy Googles is going to show up in his office, and I will play.
Dr. Jeremy Googles. I am like desperately trying to figure out how to spell that in my head right now.
G-U umlaut G-L-S.
See, but there would be like at least 2 E's in there, depending on where he's from. You could slip like 3 E's or an H in there.
Yeah. So he just walks in and sees you rooting around in his stuff. Who are you?
Contract medical investigator. Here's the warrant. Please remain outside.
Fran, did you let this guy in?
He showed me his warrant. Aren't we supposed to listen to officers of the law when they come in?
I suppose you do anything a guy says once he shows you his warrant.
Oh my god!
I apologize.
Fran takes Aiko's stun gun and stuns.
Deserved. I can't believe I said that. I'm so sorry.
Why? It was so funny.
I think
You remember when this
deserves to get decked though?
You remember when this game was about like high
Serious things?
society and cuffing season and like manners? Yeah, I got rid of all that apparently.
There's still some of that. Chivalry isn't dead. I'm about to tase a guy.
nice. Yeah, I think she says, and what, do you just throw around plastic if they just give you your Zoom number? Or they could, I don't think Zoom was around back then. Like,
You do know that plastic surgery doesn't involve actual plastic, don't you, Dr. Santos?
Probably Skype.
It probably was
Skype, yeah.
Skype.
or ICQ. Was ICQ still around?
In 2017, I've never heard of it, so I'm gonna go with no.
Probably not.
Some weird proprietary epic chat service.
Do you actually tase him?
Not yet. Not until I try something.
Mm.
But I want you to know that the option is very much on the table. Even though I don't, I think that would be a resolve token spend.
But yeah, so he says the whole thing about, do you know plastic's not used? It's like, apparently the only plastic you care about is your credit card.
Look, I don't
let
have
the
to
record
listen to
show
this
that
from
Aiko
you.
this whole time is still searching the filing cabinets.
Look, I don't have to take this from you. Get out. And he's going to come up and like put his hands on Aiko's shoulders to pull him away from the filing cabinets.
Yeah, I tase him.
I think that's going to be a resolve token from Aiko into the void.
He doesn't have any.
Oh, you spent
You
both
used it up.
already.
I
Yeah.
Yeah,
spent
he spent both
of
of
them
them.
on the challenge.
So
You know what? Fuck it. It's
can
fine.
I spend my resolve token to?
to tase him?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll happily do that. I don't think
Sure,
I'll have
go
resolve
for it.
tokens. Yeah. Like, don't you dare touch my man.
If anyone asks, I did that.
Fine.
Fran,
Yes.
listen to me. For you, it's a felony. For me, it's a misdemeanor.
But I have the money to. I have bail money. Finally remembering that I'm a fucking rich girl in this game.
I
Fine.
couldn't be me.
If anyone asks, you did it.
Thank you.
You could pay his bill. It all works
Exactly.
out.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. Yeah, and
Um,
I assume we continue searching the office and eventually find something and the plot line is resolved.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's pan back to resolving what's going on with Aiden. I think it makes sense for us to have a scene where he's in post-op and just waking up. Presumably Phyllis is there. Is Dylan there?
I think he's outside. I think he's like waiting in
Okay.
the hallway.
Mom, what happened?
You're a post-op baby.
Post-op? What do you mean? I just remember trying to climb up to get Jake down because he was really scared and he was stuck. And then he tried to reach for me and he fell on me and
And I think she's just trying to figure out how to explain this to him. And she says, there was some internal bleeding that they had to fix, but you're going to be okay.
am I going to be okay to play at next week's game?
Absolutely not.
This is as he kind of grabs a pillow and puts it over his face in frustration.
Well, next time you will think and know to call the fire department because they have the big ladder, Sonny.
Yes, I know, Mom. I think Dylan peers toward the window and sees... No, Aiden peers toward the window and sees Dylan looming. And just turns to Phyllis and says, why is Dylan standing out there?
Because, believe it or not, he cares about you too.
I mean, he can come in if he wants. I don't really care.
Yeah, and I think like Phyllis is gonna make eye contact with Dylan and kind of nod at him.
And Dylan comes in. Still doesn't say anything, just kind of comes in. Sits down, I guess.
Wait, does this mean Dylan's seen my insides?
No, I'm a psychiatrist, not an internist. I can introduce you to the doctor who did see your insides if you want.
No, that's fine. I'm just really tired and everything hurts.
Well, we're gonna let you rest up here in a bit, and then later I'm gonna take you home.
That sounds fine, I guess. And then he turns to Dylan and says, can I have that book you got me the other day?
I mean, I don't like have it here. I'm at work, but I can go get it for you.
That'd be cool.
Oh wait, it's still in my
Thanks.
car. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Thank you. I think that might be
Real
seen.
quick.
Is there anything else we want? Sorry, go
No, I
ahead.
think that's good.
Yeah. Dylan, right at just on his way out, we're like, give Fran's hand a quick squeeze, or not Fran, the other one,
Phyllis.
sorry, Phyllis.
I believe in the
Me
polycule
too,
as
I
much
went
as
to
you
bed
do,
at
Chris.
5:30.
Yeah. Okay, so in the interest of time, and just because everything is starting to feel very resolved, my gentle suggestion is that we do one night shift scene that ties everything together in some way, unless there are multiple night shift scenes that we want from people.
I'm fine with just like a closing moment for each of us.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way to go. If you want to tie it to one of the legacy things, you can. That is a mechanic that I thought was going to be a lot more important than it actually was. But it's fine.
I mean, that's kind of what happens when you completely change the whole premise of the thing
Yeah,
right in the middle.
yeah. All right. If someone wants to vignette a closing moment for their character or a short scene.
I think we just see like maybe Fran is on her break and like Phyllis comes to bring her coffee and they sit and talk for a bit. Thanks her type of thing.
Excellent. Diana, Chris, either of you have vignettes for Fran or Dylan?
I think I think for Fran, she's starting to do like she's still doing what she's doing, but now to make it more of a working relationship, she starts to do like, like quote unquote spy stuff for Aiko.
Oh, Eiko would not like that.
It comes in anonymously, so he doesn't know.
What a strong, healthy foundation for a relationship. Hmm. Yeah, I think our closing shot of Dylan is just him in the like him coming back in with the book and sitting down and like just talking with Phyllis and Aiden for a while.
Okay. I think the closing moment we have with Lon is back at his apartment. And he's sat on his couch with a pile of charts, just trying to get stuff done. And he looks up, kind of as if he's having a moment of clarity, and he just kind of puts everything down, lets his hair down, and heads over to the fish tank, starts feeding his fish. And Susan comes up behind him, just kind of leans her head on his shoulder as they watch the fish eat. Okay, that is the end of another name on the wall. This game turned out really differently than I expected. In very, very good ways. I learned a lot from this game. So thank you so much for helping me play test it. I think this is a good moment for stars before we do roses and thorns, if that's all right with y'all.
Mhm.
So let's get some stars, please.
Stars to Neko for being a good mean girl, but also a very good mom.
100%.
This is Neko's year of being mean girl.
I mean, I'm in the mood to play a Say Shogun XP again, so perhaps.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Neko, Chris, either of you have stars?
I enjoyed Jake having his scared straight moment.
We'll see how
Yeah,
long
that
it
was-
sticks.
Quite good. There's this new app called TikTok coming around the corner.
Oh God.
Chris, a star.
All right. I think my star is for Kelvin Klein.
Wonderful.
so-
Excellent. Correct.
Watching Diana do that makes me understand why everybody keeps pestering me to play all these weird guys. It's fun. I get it.
Chris looks at Kelvin Klein, just, I understand now. Yeah. This is partially a self-star, but also a star to Neko and Chris for playing off of me so well. I would be remiss if I did not recognize the contributions of Dr. Jeremy Googles.
Oh yeah, God! Everything that happened around Aiko was fucking phenomenal as well.
Yeah, this star is half Aiko being great. All right, it's my favorite Matrix OC, Aiko Ching. All right, roses. What worked about this game for you? What did you like about the game?
I do love that it scratches that very like genre itch that medical dramas are. And I think you did a really good job of trying to hone that into Good Society like, you know, and such, and how it's not just a flavor of a Good Society game, but it's the whole embodiment of like medical dramas and everything.
Yeah, that is high praise. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's been fun to dig into the tropes and mechanics of this genre and trying to translate it to a new medium. I'm not done with it. There's more I want to do, but
There's more to do. Make no
yeah.
mistake.
someone's
also-
very excited for Thorns.
I'm also I enjoyed for mechanics specific the new thing you added at the end with like us having surgery or internal medicine and that having been like to help with the draws. And I do like the idea of like trying to Emma-esque this with the whole like doing the 1800s, and then we didn't necessarily follow through with that with the legacies, but I like the idea of it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
World
Yeah.
building.
It's a cool idea that I think I need I think it just needs more time in the oven for it to play out the way that I wanted. I'm not sure how to achieve that, but uh, I think
Yeah,
the
I
main
think
thing is just.
I think
a
it's really
lot.
just you
Sorry,
need
go ahead.
more. Sorry, what? Neko, you first.
I was just gonna say, I think a lot of my roses are kind of also thorns because I'm like, this is really cool in concept, but in practice, I think it needs a bit more work. But it's got good bones types things.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it was really easy to find a rhythm once we like slipped into the setting of the actual implied setting of modern day hospital.
Mhm.
And I think we
Uh,
all felt the difference.
yeah.
I don't know.
Things
I
really get.
really liked the 1860s part a lot, and that was perhaps a bit more familiar to me.
That's very understandable. I think if I was gonna make this the way that I originally envisioned it, I need to do more in reinforcing the historical setting in different ways, but also uh, making the two time periods more directly connected to one another. Uh, that's my takeaway, anyway.
Yeah, I
Um,
was going to say something basically that.
yeah, I think a shorter time skip might be more effective. Um, the
Or even
150
just
years
like
later
a
thing.
narrower focus. Like if we were doing emergency medicine in the 70s with the birth of the paramedic, and
Yeah,
then jumping forward in time to like the pandemic probably would be the next closest analog.
yeah, I think that's a good way to say it. Narrower in scope would work better for this. I think I was a little over ambitious. Most people are in playtesting. So, yeah. Um, Neko, Chris, do you have any roses you want to bring up?
I really, like I said, I think some of mine are kind of combined. Like I really like the idea of the moves and like the challenges. Um, in practice, I don't like it feels a bit like they kind of feel too random
Yeah,
and like
they feel unfair. And I don't know
yeah.
if that's like because of the bot we were using or it's or I'm not even sure how you would fix that actually because like card draw itself is inherently random and I there's really only so much you can do about that.
Yeah, and part of why I originally wanted to try this out. These card mechanics are taken from another RPG I really like called The House Doesn't Always Win, that's centered around using cards and their different suits to complete objectives. And I didn't want to take too much from that, but maybe looking a little bit more closely at that source material and seeing what else I can glean from it to level it out, make it more fair, make it feel more skill based, even if it's not
I would
actually
be
skill based.
really I mean that's part of it. That's one direction you can take, but I'm really curious about just the raw statistics of how often we failed or succeeded.
Yeah, that would be something I should probably be keeping track of.
Good news, you've got recordings.
We've got recordings, so I may end up, once I'm not buried in finals, going back and trying to track all of that.
Because just off
And
the
you
top of
have
my head, I think we
timestamps for
only
when we
succeeded
drew
like
cards because of the card channel, so
Yeah, I
can
could also
find
That was also
use that
true,
as a
yeah.
resource. So,
points in the video.
yeah, I'll look into that. Um, yeah, I'm starting to have some misgivings about the way I've approached challenges and the use of the cards. And so that's something I want to spend time with and really get some numbers for.
Another thing you might look at is like the match games in Fight with Spirit, because there is like card drawing in that, and I find those games like really fun and that they don't feel unfair. So like that could be another place where you could look and see, okay, what's kind of different in the way I designed it versus.
I mean, the
Yeah,
difference
I'll
there
take a
is
look
that
at
they're
Fight with
all-
Spirit.
Like you're drawing at most 3 cards for a
Yeah.
Fight with Spirit match game. And I still don't know what the actual what the deck for that game looks like, but I'm pretty sure it's not 52 cards.
Oh no, it's like 28 cards.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That would make it a lot more.
Something that I toyed with early on before I latched onto the House Doesn't Always Win as a source for things to play with, because they have a licensing scheme similar to Pen to Good Society called Member of the House. Something I was toying with before latching onto that was, instead of a conventional deck of playing cards, using tarot cards.
That's
Because
the
there are
same.
fewer. What?
Well, if you're including the minor arcana is just a deck of 52 without.
Yeah, I was thinking specifically only using major arcana, and trying to develop some kind of system based on that. But
It seems
I really,
complicated.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
that-
was complicated. I really struggled to come up with something that worked and made sense and wasn't going to get a bunch of people who are way more into tarot than I am all up in my grill about like, oh, well, this card should mean this, actually.
Here's the secret. You can actually them right back. I could send you the book with the original tarot meanings. They've only existed since 1909.
Yeah.
Also,
So,
hi,
there's
I'm a
that.
freak.
But yeah, I think I would like maybe make it so that you don't have to like draw so many cards, like with the challenges. Like a lot of them were like, sometimes they were high level enough that it's like, okay, well that seems impossible, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like more than 3 felt completely impossible, and even 3 was pushing it.
Yeah. I think I definitely want to.
I mean, what's stopping you from only having 2 suits?
That's a good question. Or if I wanted 4 suits but a smaller deck, I could use a Pinnacle deck.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, that cuts down on your player base, theoretically, but
no one's going to play this shit
yeah,
already.
no. Statistically, you're losing 1 player. Maybe. Sorry.
Like, the weirdos that are willing to play my Grey's Anatomy game are already going to be on board with a Pinnacle deck. So,
Yeah, and like specifically for the one that Phyllis has, like it seems interesting, but also like I felt like, okay, increasing the difficulty level by 2, is that really worth it for adding another suit? Because that's a lot.
yeah, things need to be rescaled significantly.
Yeah.
All right.
But like
Chris,
I
oh,
really like the idea of them. I like the specialties. I think once you get it figured out, it's gonna be really great. It's just it's not there yet.
Yeah,
Which is
And,
why
like,
I
it's
said
still-
with both a rose and a form.
yeah. Like, it's still fun right now, but it's not quite where I want it to be. Chris, do you have a rose?
I think I gave it already, kind of,
Oh,
but
well.
the flavor is really dialed in already. Like you clearly you have communicated hospital drama tropes and stuff very effectively. Like once we slipped into the modern hospital, even I, who has never seen a hospital show, could figure this shit out pretty easily.
Yeah. Again, I appreciate that. That means a lot to me to hear. I've watched a lot of really weird television to get to this place. Yeah. This is based on a show where Alan Alda plays a doctor with dementia, and it's all sad. But
See, if I was doing a medical drama show, I would make resolve tokens like, yeah, to make something just flat out not work the way it would in real life.
honestly, I wish more Deep Cuts players approached resolve tokens that way. Like, I want to rule of cool this. Can I spend a resolve token and just like
Put it in the rules.
Yeah,
You just
I-
can.
you should explicitly put that in the rules, because otherwise I
Yeah,
don't think
I
people
will.
necessarily think they can.
Yeah, I will outline that more explicitly.
Or I mean, worst case, make that a tone option.
Yeah, definitely.
Collaboration, rather.
Yeah, I think my rose. If I don't remember if the facilitator gives roses or not.
Haley isn't here. Do whatever you want.
Fuck it. I think my rose definitely is the way that y'all really wholeheartedly left into mechanics in a way that previous games haven't as much, either because they weren't as developed as they are now, like they're in earlier stage, or just the games centered roleplay a lot more than playing with the cards or playing with the resolve tokens, and that's not a problem. But the fact that this table was so much more mechanically minded was really helpful for me. I learned a lot from this game, so thank you for that.
My other rose / thorn is the stuff I brought up previously about the tones, where again I think the ideas are good, but I think you need to rethink some of the actual wording or perhaps names.
Yeah, that's also on my radar for things to do for the next game.
I don't know if you have Scrubs and Call the Midwife in the same category. I just I don't know if they're quite the same type of show, you know?
Well, yeah. And not everything in the medical procedural tone listed as examples are quite the same show. This is a genre that really resists having a consistent tone.
Yeah. I'm also having trouble with Sita.
Yeah. This genre really, it doesn't work if it's the same tone all the time, because either there's a Futurama gag that explains this really well. There's a robot doctor that's based on Hawkeye from MASH, and he has a switch from irreverent to maudlin. And that really is the way doctor shows are. MASH specifically, yes, but everything that came after MASH as well, because if you stay too serious and grounded in reality, things get really bleak. But if you try and stay away from that too hard, it loses touch with reality, and you get the doctor who lost his arm to a helicopter rotor dying by having a helicopter land on him. That happens in ER. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm having kind of the same issues with Sita, where in the same series you have things like Anne discovering that she accidentally made her friend drunk by giving her currant wine instead of raspberry cordial. And you also have things like someone dying very young of like consumption or like stuff like that. And it's like these are the same series. It's the same characters. It's not like I'm picking and choosing a different series from the same author. So I don't know how to figure out tone and Sita either. So if you figure it out, tell me.
It's a tricky problem. Like, just spitballing. Like, tying that into the cycle of play somehow seems like a fairly difficult.
An
to
irreverent
pull off.
phase and a maudlin phase.
Well, no, not that directly. Like, if you try to force it that hard, I don't know. Like, some group. Listen, I've definitely played in groups that would absolutely go ham on that and have a great time. But just like including a change tone during upkeep, mandatory step with reworked tone options to accommodate that.
Actually, yeah, that's not a bad way to do it. Or something that comes to mind just in the moment, off the top of my head. When framing a scene, part of the mechanics of framing a scene could be declaring tone.
That could work.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would want to develop.
That would need playtesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would want to develop it more and then get it into a playtest. Like, okay, like, is this scene sunlit or stormy or I don't know, some other weather term. Yeah.
Irreverent or maudlin. Like, you've got your two wolves right there.
I just need a third wolf because I resist all binaries. But yeah. Okay.
Both.
Diana, Chris and Neko have mentioned both roses and thorns. Diana, do you have any thorns?
It's related. Hold on, to the note I made to myself in the feedback a while back. And I think it makes sense though. Like, we have like us trying to get into we want to full force in the medical tone and everything. It seems like we focus a lot, like with the patient scenes, on diagnostics.
Yeah.
And that is fun, but it gets boring also real quick. I mean, the fun of it is the personalities of the patients,
Yeah, and we need some more medical variety.
Yeah.
Which, hey, we just found a generator for medical variety.
Excellent.
Also, I think it was possibly mentioned in another session, and I'm just trying to find the tabs. It's just really interesting with desires and relationships. We tend to skew, at least in the two playtests, like either it's all relationship desires that we actually work on, or it's all the work-based desires that we actually work on. And it's a little bit hard to find the balance of the two.
Yeah, and I think that's partially reflected in the genre. Some of these shows, the reason they turn maybe not as good as they used to be is that they aren't as good at striking that balance anymore. ER definitely turns that way at a certain point in the show. Like, it just really becomes about the relationships, and the work stuff is less important to the plot. That happened almost immediately with Grey's Anatomy, in my opinion.
But also, it might be like, I think in the two playtests it worked out. But I definitely had a worry in this one with the 1800s a little bit with if one player is focusing more on like the relationship desire, but the rest of the players are focused on the medical desire. I worry there might be they're not getting what they want, because some people watch medical dramas
Yeah.
as a romance, that's just their flavor. Like I prefer romances that are supernatural. I don't really care too much of modern romances, for example. So
Yeah. Like,
similar to like,
there's
Oh,
a
go ahead.
reason one of the collaboration options is "But Doctor, I Love You." Like,
yeah. Yeah, and sure, like if lean, but there's always like that's a pretty like baked in thing of good society in general is the no, that doesn't necessarily mean the romantic relationships either. But like considering like the whole thing of like, oh, what is this scene? Is this sunlit or something? Maybe possibly, and again, for like more when you're more complete with the game, I think an idea of that like either every chapter, every like a recheck of like, hey, like are we still
Mhm.
being hardcore doctor mode, or are we like leaning more like is this the episode leaning more into like the relations? So that way at least we get some of that. But luckily it all worked out. But that was something because part of me was like, oh, gotta focus on because it's a doctor game. Focus on the doctor stuff. But why do a lot of us play Good Society? You know? It is for the relationships, whatever romantic or non-romantic, So
Yeah, definitely. All right.
and then just the thorn of like, yeah, connections. We'd spend a lot of time if we don't know doctor stuff, like trying to create patient maladies, and the generator helps and everything. But like, yeah, instead of having if you were to make a physical version of your game, it would be a maladies deck, or something that
Yeah.
to help people be more comfortable and then get into the actual like, and that's understandable, is this like we did spend a lot of time, all of us, those of us who know a lot of medical shows or random histories, worried about creating the patients or creating, and I think that would help get more play in if it's like, here's a pick list that we can do so that if we don't come up with our own, we can just do that and go a little faster.
Yeah, definitely. And this ties into a lot of other stuff that I want to explore with the game, like create a more discrete episodic structure. So yeah, that's all good. I really, really need to get going so I can finish that project I mentioned and submit it. So I am going to bid you all good night. This has
Don't forget to stop recording.
Yeah, I'm going to stop recording now. Thank you for the reminder. I'm very tired.